Imagine standing in a place that feels like it shouldn't even exist. A mountain of fire rising out of Antarctica's frozen wasteland. A waterfall so tall it disappears into clouds, lakes painted in colors too bright to be real, and skies that dance green and purple in the dead of night. This isn't a dream. These places are out there, waiting. In this video, we are traveling across the planet to see nature at its absolute craziest. From the red heart of Australia at Uluru to the icy silence of Antarctica, from the jagged peaks of Patagonia to the glowing salt flats of Bolivia to the northern lights swirling over the Arctic sky. These aren't just landscapes. They're moments that make you feel small, alive, and maybe a little scared. So buckle in, because we're about to count down 50 of the most unbelievable natural wonders on Earth. By the end, you might not believe this planet is even real. Plitvice Lakes, Croatia's natural wonder of cascading waterfalls and crystal clear lakes. The first thing you hear is water. Not just one waterfall, dozens, some so small they sound like a trickle, others roaring hard enough you feel it in your chest. The boardwalk sways a little under your feet, and every few steps you pass someone stopped in the middle, camera halfway up, just staring. The water is unreal, a blue that doesn't make sense until you see fish drifting through it like they're suspended in glass. The legendary cliffs of Moher, where Ireland meets the wild Atlantic in dramatic style. It's windy here, really windy. The kind that tries to steal your hat and makes you laugh even as you're holding your coat tight. The cliffs drop straight into the Atlantic, dark rock meeting restless waves that look like they've been at this battle for centuries. On clear days, you can see the Aran Islands, but honestly, even on misty days, there's something about the grey sky and the crash of the ocean that makes it feel even more Irish. Norway's Northern Lights, a magical dance of color across Arctic skies. You can't really plan the Northern Lights, you wait and you hope and you check the sky every few minutes like a kid waiting for snow. And then, if you're lucky, they appear, not all at once but in slow waves, like green smoke drifting across the stars. Sometimes they flicker, sometimes they stretch into purple and pink, and for a few minutes you forget to even take a photo. It's one of the rare moments where you realize your eyes are better than any camera. Santorini, Greece, where whitewashed villages meet the endless blue of the Aegean Sea. If you've seen the postcards, you already know the white houses and blue domes, but being there is different. The sunlight is sharper, the sea a deeper kind of blue, and the smell of grilled fish drifts from a taverna somewhere down the hill. The streets wind and curve, each turn revealing another view you didn't expect. The Swiss Alps, a breathtaking world of towering peaks and tranquil valleys. There's a moment on the train when you forget to breathe, the kind where the window suddenly fills with nothing but peaks and sky. Down in the valleys, you spot tiny houses with red roofs, and you wonder how anyone gets groceries up here. Step off at a mountain village and you hear cowbells somewhere higher up, echoing like they're part of the air. The kind of quiet here isn't empty, it's thick, like the mountains are holding it in place for you. Italy's Amalfi Coast, where colorful villages cling to dramatic cliffs above the sea. Driving here is like being in a slow moving postcard, except your driver occasionally mutters at scooters that appear out of nowhere. Houses the color of peaches and lemons stack themselves along cliffs that dive straight into water the color of bottled ink. If you stop for coffee, it comes in cups so small you're forced to sip slow, which is fine. because there's always another fishing boat sliding into view. The air smells faintly of salt and frying anchovies, and somehow that mix just works. The Scottish Highlands, a land of misty mountains, ancient lochs, and wild beauty. One minute, you're surrounded by low hills and wet grass. The next, the road dips and you're staring at a loch so still it looks like a sheet of metal. Clouds hang low enough to brush the tops of your ears if you stand tall, and every gust of wind smells faintly of rain and something older, like peat. A ship blocks your path for a while, staring at you like you're the one in the way. The Matterhorn, Switzerland's iconic peak rising sharply above alpine meadows. You catch sight of it long before you reach Zermatt. At first, it's just another peak in the distance, and then you realize no, that's the one. It's got this stubborn, standalone shape that almost looks too perfect to be real. In the morning, the light hits it from the east, and for a few minutes it glows while the valley below is still yawning away. People stop mid step to stare, even if they have lived there for years. Germany's Black Forest, a mysterious realm of towering pines and fairy tale legends. Step off the road and the world changes. The air is cooler here, carrying the smell of pine and damp earth. Sunlight doesn't pour in, it sneaks through in thin, golden streaks, hitting patches of ferns and moss. The ground feels soft, almost springy under your boots, and every few steps you catch a new sound, a bird somewhere high up, a twig snapping, water trickling just out of sight. Mount Everest, Nepal, Tibet. From a distance, Everest doesn't look real. It doesn't even look climbable, just a white pyramid cutting into the sky. The higher you go, the air turns sharp, like it doesn't belong to people. Climbers say the mountain strips you down to your core, that every step feels borrowed. But standing at its base, just looking, you don't think about conquering it. You feel something closer to awe and maybe a little fear. Halong Bay, Vietnam. The first time you see the bay in the morning, it doesn't even look real. The water is flat like glass, and these giant cliffs just rise straight out of it, almost too sudden. A fisherman paddles by in a small wooden boat, and you hear the oars scrape before you even see him. Everything echoes here. Even your own voice feels too loud. It's not busy, it's not loud, it's quiet in a way that makes you notice every little thing. Mount Fuji, Japan. Fuji doesn't surprise you with size, it surprises you with balance. Perfect cone, snow on top, green forest wrapping around its base. Some mornings it hides completely behind clouds, then suddenly it appears and the whole landscape feels different. Locals bow their heads to it, and when you see it yourself, you understand. It's not just a mountain, it feels like a presence. Cappadocia, Turkey. The land looks strange before the sun comes up, like a giant forgot to finish what he was carving. Rock towers, caves, holes in the ground that lead who knows where. Then the balloons start lifting, dozens of them, slow, silent, colorful against the pale sky. You stand there watching, and it feels like time stops for a moment. The air smells dry, dusty, like stone warming in the Sunday people lived inside these rocks once. Somehow, you can still feel them here. The Dead Sea, Jordan, Israel. You walk in and the water pushes you back up. No effort, no swimming, just floating, like the sea has decided it won't let you in. It stings though, every cut, even the tiniest scratch. The taste of salt hits your lips and doesn't leave. Around you is just heat, desert, rock, nothing else. You live covered in white crystals on your skin like proof you were there. Petra, Jordan. The path twists through stone canyons, walls so close you can touch both sides. Then suddenly it opens, and the treasury appears carved into the rock, glowing pink in the sunday. You stand there, and it doesn't feel like ruins, it feels alive, like the city is only sleeping. Walk deeper, and you'll find stairways, tombs, even homes carved into the stone. You don't just see Petra, you walk inside its memory. The Great Wall of China. It doesn't stretch in a straight line. It snakes over ridges, climbs into the clouds, then vanishes into valleys. The stones underfoot are uneven, polished smooth from centuries of footsteps. On misty mornings, it fades into the fog, then reappears farther on, like it has no end. You don't just see history here, you feel its weight pressing in from every side. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, China. Here, the mountains don't look like mountains. They shoot straight up tall sandstone pillars covered in green. Some are so thin, you wonder how they're standing at all. Mist curls around them, hiding and revealing peaks at random. It's no wonder people say this place inspired the floating mountains in Avatar. When you're here, it's hard to believe gravity applies the same way. The Gobi Desert, Mongolia, China. The Gobi isn't endless sand like you expect. It's stone, grassland, stretches of nothing that make the horizon feel impossibly far away. Wind cuts across it, carrying fine dust that stings your skin. At night, the stars spill across the sky, so thick it feels like they're pressing down on you. The silence here isn't peaceful, it's heavy, the kind you carry home with you. Angel Falls, Venezuela. You hear it first, a low, steady sound hidden in the jungle. Then the trees break open, and there's a thin white line falling forever out of the clouds. You have to squint to even see where it begins. Sometimes clouds roll over the cliff and hide the whole thing, like it was never there at all. Then the wind shifts, and it's back again, taller than anything you imagined. Great Barrier Reef, Australia. The water stretches flat and endless at first glance. Blue, green, turquoise, all blending in ways that feel wrong somehow. Then you lean over, maybe put on a mask, and it's a different world. Coral twists in strange shapes, colors so bright they almost hurt your eyes. Fish dart like sparks, small ones, big ones, each disappearing before you can track them. A turtle glides slowly past, ancient, calm. The sun catches the water in sudden streaks of light, shifting as you move. You realize this place is alive in ways the surface never shows. The reef goes on, far beyond what you can see, and you feel it the weight of life, fragile and sprawling, existing without waiting for anyone to notice. Grand Canyon, a breathtaking chasm carved by time and nature. Here, every layer tells a story of Earth's ancient past. You step up to the rim, and for a bit, you forget how to stand. The canyon isn't just a gap in the earth, it's a storybook with pages of red and rust and stubborn stone, each layer a different century. Light walks across it like a slow hand. In the morning, it's shy and pink. By sunset, it's dramatic, nearly theatrical. And down there, way down, the Colorado threads along like an old ribbon, patient and changing everything in silence. Yellowstone, America's first national park, a land of geysers, vibrant pools, and untamed wilderness. Yellowstone smells like rain and sulfur and possibility. Steam rolls off the ground like someone exhaling, and every 10 minutes, something unexpected bubbles, spits, or hisses. The Grand Prismatic? From the boardwalk is lovely, from above is unreal, a painted eye of blues and orange halos. Those bands are alive, tiny microbes partying in heat. where nothing else could live. Walk slow. Listen to the pop of distant geysers. Niagara Falls, where thunderous waters create rainbows and awe. You won't just see Niagara, you'll feel it. The roar arrives before the falls do, a low drum that settles into your ribs. Then the mist, a cool, salty spray that kisses your face and sneaks into your hair. Boats push right up to the edge and you can taste the water on your lips. Sunlight casts the spray into rainbows like someone scattered colored glass. It's loud, it's wet, it's glorious. Yosemite, a cathedral of granite cliffs, towering waterfalls, and ancient forests. Nature's masterpiece awaits. Yosemite feels like a cathedral without walls. Granite towers El Capitan. Half-domes stand like old quiet giants. Waterfalls pour between them like curtains. In spring, the valley parks itself under a confetti of wildflowers. Hike a trail and you find places that ask for silence. You answer with breath. The trees are absurdly old and impossibly patient. Antelope Canyon, a hidden slot canyon sculpted by wind and water. Light dances on smooth sandstone walls. Antelope is a whisper carved into rock. Light slips through slits above and puts spotlights on curves of sandstone warm, smooth, like the inside of a seashell that forgot the sea. The canyon winds in narrow corridors. You move single file, almost reverent. When a sunbeam hits just right, the walls glow. It's one of those moments photographers chase but never fully catch. Moraine Lake, a turquoise jewel nestled among rugged peaks. Its beauty is both serene and striking. B. Moraine Lake looks made of glass and secrets. The color, that impossible turquoise, arrives from glaciers grinding rock into a fine powder that floats in the water. The mountains hug the lake like guardians. The pines smell sharp and clean. In early light, the surface is so still it mirrors everything perfectly. And for 2 minutes, the world forgets it's moving. Take a deep breath. It tastes like cold and cedar. Denali, Alaska's towering peak and wild tundra. Here, nature reigns in its rawest form. Denali is a place that keeps its distance. On clear days, the mountain dominates the horizon, a ruler of wind and snow. Then, just as quickly, fog or cloud hides it like a shy monarch. The real thing is the scale. Caribou, foxes, and bears dot a plain that stretches into forever. The light changes like a Stygian switching curtains. Gold, then hard white, then dim blue. Monument Valley, where iconic red buttes rise from the desert floor, a landscape shaped by time and legend. Monument Valley is the sound of films, but in person it's quieter than you expect. Those red buttes rise from the desert like fingertips pressing up from the earth. At sunrise, they're soft and forgiving. At noon, they're sculpted and stark. Watch a dust devil spin across the plain, and you'll feel how alive the desert is. Bryce Canyon, a wonderland of hoodoos and vibrant colors. Every spire tells a story of erosion and beauty. Bryce doesn't do grand gestures, it does details. Thousands of hoodoos, tall, thin rock spires crowd the amphitheater, each one its own weird little statue. Move through the rim and the shapes change like faces in a crowd. Early light makes them glow like ember. After rain, they smell of wet sandstone and tiny green things trying to live. Hawaii's volcanic lands, where fire meets sea and the earth is still being born. Witness the power of creation. This is Earth, with its sleeves rolled up. Lava rivers carve new coastline, Steam hisses where fire meets sea, and the night sky sometimes turns orange from crater glow. There is a certain hush here, like watching a live experiment you have no right to witness. Locals call it a place of kupuna and creation old and new. Walk a cool lava flow and the ground looks like black rock, folded, knotted, patient. Uluru, Australia. Out of the flat desert, it rises suddenly, red, massive, silent. You approach, and every step changes. What you see cracks, grooves, the way sunlight slides over rough stone. In the morning, it blushes pink. Midday, it burns orange. At sunset, it glows deep red, almost like fire trapped in rock. Wind sweeps across the desert, carrying dust that sticks to your skin. People move quietly here, not out of fear, just respect. Uluru doesn't need anyone to notice. It has stood through centuries, watching the world change, patient, unmoving, untouchable. Milford Sound, New Zealand. Cliffs rise so high they pierce clouds, waterfalls spilling down black rock like silver threads. Rain falls sideways, twisting in the wind, hitting the water and disappearing. The fjord is dark, still, reflecting everything around it in perfect mirror. Seals lounge on scattered rocks, eyes half shut, indifferent. Boats drift between the walls like toys. The sky shifts constantly, sunlight, cloud, mist, all in moments. Every sense is alive here. The mountains don't surround you, they press in. They hold you in a silence that is almost loud. Mount Cook, New Zealand. Snow piles, thick, unbroken. Glaciers groan as they creep slowly down the slopes. Wind cuts across ridges, sudden, sharp, and unforgiving. Clouds cling to peaks, then peel away to reveal jagged white rocks. You look up and realize nothing else matters here, not towns, not roads, not time. The mountain is bigger than maps, bigger than memory. Even standing still, you feel it pressing at the edges of yourself, reminding you how small you are in comparison. Bora Bora, French Polynesia. The water is blinding blue, brighter than anything you've seen. Wooden huts hover on stilts over the lagoon, shadows rippling with every wave. Sand slips soft between your toes, warm under the sunday. In the center, a jagged green mountain rises sharply, watching silently. Flowers scent the air. Salt mixes with sweetness. Time seems to slow. The wind shifts, and the lagoon glows differently every second. Night comes, and the water reflects moonlight, turning silver. The island doesn't move. You do. Antarctica ice and silence. White stretches forever. Ice cracks, groans, shifts. Snow crunches underfoot. Penguins wander in small groups, calling to each other across the frozen expanse. Icebergs drift, some taller than buildings, silent as they float. When a whale surfaces, the sound carries for miles, echoing of emptiness. The cold is everywhere. It presses in, makes you shiver from inside. Nothing human exists here. Mount Erebus, Antarctica. Amid endless snow and ice, smoke curls from the volcano's peak. Inside, a glowing lava lake pulses, fire trapped by frost. Steam rises, freezing before it even hits the ground. The landscape is quiet, except for the occasional crack of shifting ice. Fire and ice together feel impossible. You watch, trying to imagine how the world can hold such contradictions. Greenland's ice fjord. Greenland. A deafening crack, a giant slab of ice breaks off and falls into the fjord. Thunder rolls across the frozen water, then fades. Icebergs drift silently, some towering, some cracked and blue. Water dark, almost black, reflecting shards of sunlight. Tiny villages cling to the shore, dwarfed by these frozen giants. At night, the northern lights sweep overhead, green and purple ribbons twisting, rolling, alive. Svalbard, Norway's Arctic edge. Light here has no rules. In summer, it never sets. In winter, it never rises. Snow covers everything. Silence stretches, almost touchable. Old wooden huts, broken mines, abandoned attempts at survival, remnants of human life dwarfed by endless ice. Polar bears roam freely, distant and indifferent. The cold isn't weather, it's the bones of the land, permanent and unshakable. The air itself feels alive, pressing against you, reminding you that you are a visitor in a place that belongs to the Arctic. The northern lights, Arctic skies, a faint green glow first, then ribbons of color twist across the sky. Purple, pink, green, folding and unfolding like a living painting. It moves too fast to follow. People stop, heads back, mouths open. You don't try to photograph it. You can't. It doesn't wait. The world is small beneath it, silent beneath it, irrelevant. For a few minutes, the sky owns everything, and it doesn't care who is watching. Iguazu Falls, Argentina. Iguazu Falls, a breathtaking wonder straddling the border of Argentina and Brazil, where nature's power and beauty collide in a symphony of water and mist. Imagine the roar of 100 waterfalls at once. Iguazu isn't just one drop of water, it's a whole army spilling over the edge of the jungle in a wild, white curtain. From above is a necklace of thunder. From the lower walkways is a warm rain in your face and a blur in your camera lens. Butterflies drift through the mist like they own the place. And then there's the Devil's Throat, a giant horseshoe of water so loud you can't hear your own thoughts and you don't want to. Angel Falls, Venezuela. Angel Falls, Venezuela, the world's highest uninterrupted waterfall, cascading from the mysterious tabletop mountains deep in the heart of the jungle. The highest waterfall on earth doesn't crash down in one violent drop, it glides. Angel Falls spills from a tabletop mountain, falling so far that much of it turns to mist before it ever reaches the ground. The approach is part of the magic. Small boats on winding rivers, the green walls of jungle closing in, the air heavy with rain before you've even seen the falls. Then, through a gap in the clouds, that silver thread appears. It's so tall, you crane your neck and still can't see where it starts. Amazon, rainforest, Brazil, the Amazon rainforest. Earth's largest tropical jungle, teeming with life, color, and endless adventure along its winding rivers. 5 minutes in, and your shirt sticks to your back. The air tastes like wet leaves and overripe fruit. The boatman cuts the engine, and the forest turns the volume up. A drip, a rattle, a bird that sounds like a squeaky door. A blue morpho butterfly flashes past like a piece of sky with a mind of its own. On the trail, you pause for a parade of leafcutter ants, each hauling a green flag bigger than his body. The river is tea-colored from tannins. Pink river dolphins surface with a soft puff of breath, then vanish like a secret. Rain arrives fast, a warm slap, then is gone. Your lens fogs, you laugh, you wipe it with a shirt. The Amazon isn't one view. It smells and noise and motion. All layered, all alive. 14. Galapagos Islands, Ecuador. The Galapagos Islands, a living laboratory of evolution, where unique wildlife and dramatic landscapes inspired Darwin's greatest ideas. It feels like nature wrote its own rulebook here. Blue-footed boobies dance for mates on lava rock, giant tortoises lumber through the highlands like old travelers, and sea lions sprawl on beaches without caring who walks by. The water is clear enough to see marine iguanas grazing on the seafloor. It's not a zoo, it's a conversation between life and the land. Untouched and unscripted, every island feels like its own chapter in a book Darwin might still be writing. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. The Uyuni salt flats in Bolivia, a dazzling white expanse that transforms into a giant mirror after the rain, reflecting the sky in surreal perfection. At this altitude, your head thumbs a little and the sun feels closer than it should. The ground is a puzzle of white hexagons, crunchy under your boots, salt dust whitening your laces. Dip a finger and it stings your lips, too salty, of course. When a thin sheet of rain sits on the flats, the world flips. Sky becomes floor and you're walking inside a reflection. Trucks glide like they're floating. Your sense of distance quits. Tiny O's brine springs bubble quietly, and somewhere a herd of llamas bells across the emptiness. Later you pass the old train cemetery, iron bones rusting in the blue afternoon. Bring sunglasses, then bring another pair. Out here, even the silence is bright. Torres del Paine National Park, Chile. Patagonia, a land of wild winds, towering peaks, and untamed beauty at the southern tip of South America. Patagonia greets you with a shock of wind playful, then not. The Cuernos rise like chipped granite horns, and clouds stack in neat lenticular pancakes as if UFOs pause to watch. On the W trek, a fox trots across the path, not bothered. The lakes are unreal. One milky, one turquoise, one still, all fed by eyes that creaks like an old sheep. You'll taste dust, then rain, then sun again 4 seasons before lunch. Someone hands you a caliphate berry and whispers the myth. Eat it and you'll return. You probably will. In the distance, blue icebergs drift on grey lake, tiny until a crack echoes like thunder and you realize they're not tiny at all. Wild, beautiful, and slightly indifferent to your plans. Machu Picchu mountain landscape, Peru. Machu Picchu, Peru's ancient Incan citadel perched high in the Andes, shrouded in mist and mystery. The train hums through the valley to Aguas Calientes, then buses snake up switchbacks that make your stomach do little flips. At the top, the clouds act like stage curtains, parting, closing, teasing until the terraces finally appear. Llamas mow the grass like lazy groundskeepers. Run a finger along the stonework and you can't slide a coin between the blocks. From the guardhouse, the classic view hits you. From the sun gate, the whole ridge breathes out. The air is thin, coca tea helps, and the steps are so steep you bargain with your legs. A guide whistles softly, a hawk circles, the Urubamba curls below like a green robe. History is right there, but it's the mountain that steals your voice. Perito Moreno Glacier, Argentina. Perito Moreno Glacier, Argentina, a living river of ice that creaks, cracks, and dazzles with its brilliant blue walls. Most glaciers feel distant. Perito Moreno comes right up to greet you. It's a wall of blue ice, taller than a building, cracking and groaning like it's alive. Every so often, a chunk the size of a house crashes into the water below, sending up a wave and a cheer from the crowd. Walk the boardwalks and you'll see shades of blue you didn't know existed, electric, deep, milky. It's one of the few glaciers in the world still growing stubborn against time. Atacama Desert, Chile. The Atacama Desert, Chile, the driest place on earth, where alien landscapes and star-filled skies create a world like no other. Dry isn't the word. Your chapstick works overtime, and the air feels like it was baked. In Valle de la Luna, the ground crunches with salt and the rocks glow peach at sunset. Dawn at El Tatio means sulfur on the breeze and geysers puffing like sleepy kettles, while your fingers go numb inside gloves. Later, flamingos step through shallow, pink-rimmed lagoons at Chaxa with the elegance of ballerinas on stilts. When night drops, it's outrageous. The Milky Way looks painted on, the Southern Cross obvious even to beginners. Far on the plateau, the white dishes of LMA stare into space like curious giants. Nothing grows easily here, and yet everything shines. Pantanal Wetlands, Brazil. The Pantanal, Brazil, the world's largest tropical wetland, bursting with wildlife and vibrant life at every turn. The Transpantanera is more bridge than road, wooden planks thudding under the tires. A Jabiru stork stands taller than your cooler, looking unimpressed. On the river, the boatman kills the engine and you drift dragonflies stitching patterns in the air, a giant otter snorting somewhere in the reeds. Then, a jaguar on the far bank, roses sliding between shadows. Nobody talks. Even the mosquitoes forget their job for a second. After dark, a spotlight turns the water into a field of red eyes. It's not a zoo. It's Tuesday night in the Pantanal and everything is very much alive. And that's it, 50 places that prove our planet is nothing short of unbelievable. Mountains that scrape the sky, rivers that carve worlds of their own, deserts glowing like fire, and oceans alive with more colors than we can name. But here's the truth. No video, no photo, no words will ever match the feeling of standing there yourself. The wind in your face at the Grand Canyon, the roar of Niagara shaking in your chest, the silence of the northern lights overhead, that's the real magic. If this journey gave you even a spark of that feeling, hit that like button. And if you want more adventures like this, subscribe. Because this world is full of stories and we barely scratch the surface. Until next time, keep exploring.